Hey there, kids. Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. It is Tuesday. And yes, it's the first stream of the week. So I fell asleep yesterday and slept right through the live stream. Now, Bill and Andrew were nice enough to message me and ask about the stream and my well-being and all that good stuff. So thank you, you guys. But yeah, I passed out at like 6 last night from pulling an all-nighter trying to get that last Titans test team insignia done, and that thing was a monster. It took me 9 hours of work. That's not counting so basically what I do is I record the redraw process, and that's how much footage I actually got out of it. It was about 9 hours. But it took me way longer than that with like breaks and, things I had to do, make dinner and all that. So it took me a lot longer than 9 hours. But anywho, pulled an all-nighter, tried to stay up. Bad idea. Passed out at like 6 and woke up, I think it was like 10:30. And then I responded to Bill and Andrew, and I passed out again, and I didn't wake up until about 3 a.m. And then got up, and I finally made myself dinner at 5 a.m. today. So here we are, and I've been working ever since. So yeah, it's just like, even though I'm unemployed, I work more now than I was doing when I had a job. Go figure, right? But I love it. It's a lot of fun, and it is a lot of work, but it's good, passionate work. So yeah, I'm psyched about it. So anyways, the store is like this close to opening up. I'm adding the last few things, getting stuff tidied up, just tying up loose ends and things like that. And then we'll get that out to you. So hopefully within the next, between now and 2 days. I know I've been saying, it was Friday, and then it was yesterday, and now it's, another. It's just a lot of stuff. Yeah. This motherfucker. Yeah, Gizmo. Hi, all. Oh, look who's awake. Yeah, well, shit happens, right? Shit happens. Oh my God. But yeah, dude, that last insignia, it was the Hazel Herrera. It was basically the final incarnation of the Hazel. I'll tell you what, man, that insignia was the most complex of all of them by far. It was a monster to try and duplicate. And come to find out, there's two versions. There's the final version, which I posted, and then there's the concept version. So come to find out, Carl Matsunaga, I think something like that, Carl, he was one of the pilots of the Titans test team. He was actually the one with the original bunny. He was the one that kind of came up with the concepts of using the bunnies from Watership Down. And he, I guess, drew all of them or something like that. And he had a concept version. And then somewhere along the lines, they scrapped the concept version, and then they went with the more intricate one that, I tackled yesterday. So I'm going to have both of them in the store, because I really like both of the designs. They're really, really freaking cool. Yeah, talk about rough, man. That thing was a beast. So, but we're back. I may throw in a weekend stream coming up this weekend or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Not sure what's going to happen. But continue to work. continue to work. And of course, if you haven't signed up for notifications for the store, hit the link. It's in both chats, shop.childofmecha.com. Put in your email address. You will get notified. You will get a substantial discount code off of your first purchase. So that'll be a lot of fun. There's going to be just a really wide amount of stuff in there. So just, yeah, hold on to your drawers, kids. Anyway, let's say hi to everybody in the chat here real quick. We've got Julius. He says, good morning. What up, Doc J? We got Andrew, Mr. RF Aurora. Andrew, we're going to do that demonstration. Andrew asked me to do a demonstration for you guys. Well, for him, but for everyone else. Basically wanting to know how to recess, what are they? Photo etch parts. Just below the surface or just either at the same level of the surface. Hopefully I'm right with that, Andrew. So we're going to do that here in a few minutes. We'll start with that, and then we'll get into working on the hip skirts and everything like that for the Shiki. Mr. Bill is with us. These two guys, man, Andrew and Bill checked in on me last night. So guys, thank you very much for that. That was very sweet of both of you. Really appreciate that. With me, it's always the thought that counts. I always look into that, and that means a lot. It really does. Here we go. Mr. Mikey Dawson's with us. Gio is with us. Andrew says, got to take care of yourself, Tim. We understand. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Mr. Charles Dodge, the one and only legend. He's over there on Twitch holding it down. He says, good morning, afternoon. Charles, how the hell are you, man? Mr. Edwin RSA, hello, everyone. Good midnight. Heyo. Mr. Apex Nerd, hey, you guys. Nice. And Bill was just like, it'll be done soon. Trademark. Yeah. Man, I tried to give myself a good amount of time. I gave myself a good 2 weeks, but man, just everything just stacked up. It's crazy. Mr. Enrico is with us. He says, hello, everyone. What's going on, Enrico? Good seeing you. Gio says, finished my master grade Death Scythe Rosette, I don't know, unit. Gave up on the water slides for some reason. They were sticking to the Tamiya cotton swab. Then I tried something called water slide squeegee. Same result. You obviously were not using Mecha Decals. Heyo! Enrico says, that's odd, Gio, right? A little bit. Let's see. Enrico says, finished my Vingagina. Yes, and he posted some pictures of that in the community. Very nicely done streaking, very subtle, very tasteful, very, very nice. I like it. So check that out in the community if you have a chance. Really good stuff from Enrico there. RF Aurora says, you are the piece I'm trying to flush mount is just a hair over the width of my 1mm chisel. So I wanted to know if was a special process. We'll show you. Yeah. It's probably easier than you think, if I'm being honest, but we'll show it to you. No worries. Bill says there was also a request for scribing slightly wider than your chisel. I think it was on the Mecha. Oh yeah, that was from Andrew. Yeah. Let's see. Gio says, I was going to send you a message but didn't want to intrude. Aw, Gio. I appreciate it, bud. Andrew says, I have the body of the Master Grade EX Unicorn done, and all the LEDs still work for now. Just need to glue the photo etch parts down and build the weapons. Got it. If you guys see my eyes blinking or me rubbing my eyes, my dry eyes are acting up a bit this morning. Probably from the all-nighter and all the work that I did this weekend. So they're bothering me a bit today, so don't mind me. Let's see. Bill says, to Andrew, I get you. I know the process I would do involving 2 lines, then joining them, but Tim may have another method. That's actually, yeah, I mean, that you could do that too. Yeah, that's not a bad call at all, I don't think. I do have a bit of a different method, yeah, but that's definitely feasible too. All, you know, kind of all part and parcel, if you will. Enrico says, we'll post the Vingagina painting whip video on my channel as soon as I get around to editing the last few clips. Oh, fuck. Editing sucks, doesn't it? Blech. I mean, it's crucial, but it still sucks. Mr. Todd Matt Havoc, he's over there on YouTube. He says hello. What's going on, Todd? Good to see you, buddy. Enrico says, thanks, Tim. You're welcome, man. Apex Nerd says, cast is off. Yay. Hand splint on. Stitches are out. Does anyone want to see my surgical marks? I don't know, man. We might save that for another conversation there. And Andrew says, go for it, Apex. Yeah, right? Oh, my, of course. Let's see. Bill says, nice, Enrico. Calvin Branham, he says, I'm going to say this once. Hello, sports fans. What's going on, Calvin? Good to see you, man. Rico says, thanks, Bill. Hells to the yeah. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, so, oh, man. Sorry, you guys. My eyes are super fucked right now. And they're like watering in it. They get red and it looks like I've been crying or something like that. But I can definitely tell you I've not been crying. It just sucks. I used to have really, really bad dry eyes, and I took daily drops for them. I forget what the medicine was called, but it was, you know, like a prescription thing. And I don't take it anymore because the dry eye, the chronic dry eyes stopped years ago, so I haven't taken them. But every few months, every, 4, 5, 6 months, it's just maybe a couple times a year. Sometimes they and who knows what triggers it, but they act up and it's just like, just like sand in my eyes, and it sucks. But, it is what it is. We'll soldier on and get through this thing. So, with that being said, let's do this demonstration for our friend Mr. Andrew. All right, so where's my one? So it's 1 millimeter. These things are 1 millimeter wide, Andrew. Is that correct? Let me know. Let me know. All right. Word. Okie dokie. That is correct. Excellent. Excellent. That's what I like. Okie doke. So let's go super zoom for this one. All right. So I'm gonna use this little plate. I did a few I don't know, kind of testing practice things here. A month or two ago, maybe? And this has just been sitting around, so I'll use this. This isn't a big deal. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna use the T-square as our guide, right? So let's make sure we're on camera here. Now, obviously, if it's 1 millimeter wide, I'm gonna start with a 1 millimeter, right? So obviously, I don't know how, long these things are, but stay on camera, damn it. But, start out making it whatever length that your piece is, right? So say, for instance, if it's 4 mil long, we'll go right there, make a mark. We'll go right there, make a mark, right? Oh yeah, you can't see that for shit. Oh, you can kind of see that right next to the ruler, the little shadows there. So you basically do a little indent thing right there, right? And then just real careful like, just start to, basically, what you're doing is you're starting to set this line. And that's essentially what this process is, right? And we're not going to go super deep with it either. All right, so I'm going to stop right there, right? Because that is probably about the depth of one of these parts, you know? Just clean up. So right there. And that's basically, you know, what I would start out with, right? Just start by setting this groove and everything, right? Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit wider than 1 millimeter. Fair? So, with that being said, take your ruler or your guide tape or what have you, and just shimmy it down. Just a squelch. It's an official term. An official unit of measurement. Just a squelch. And just take off that little bit. Same as you would everything else. And then you got your, oh no, that's not a measured piece. It was just a scrap piece that I had lying around. Yeah, and there we go. That's a little bit wider than 1 millimeter. So that's kind of what I would start to do. Is just basically you're setting the line essentially, but you're not going to depth after that, right? So it's not necessarily hard. You just need to use, you know, precision, bit of patience, even the line out especially. So you got to make sure that it's, you know, recessed evenly on both sides, all that stuff, right? So, yeah. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yeah, you can see that groove right there. Right there. That one. Now, mind you, it's not my most elegant work and it's not the cleanest, but you kind of get the idea, right? You kind of get the idea. Let's see. Let me get caught up here just real quick, because I know Andrew had commented some things here. Yeah, so okay, so he Andrew said it's a rectangle. I think it's 2 millimeters, you know, in length. He says now I need to order me a T-square. Thank you, Tim. Oh, I mean, you don't need one per se, right? You just need something that, you know, some sort of guide that will allow you to, you know, number one, get a nice straight groove, and then number two, being able to just shimmy it down a little bit, right? So honestly, you can use like the scribing jigs from our friend Colin. You can just use the flat part and just kind of hold it there. I would probably use like you know, a shorter, like a 1 millimeter, so it's easier to hold in place like this, and then that way, you know, you can just go to town like this and then shimmy that little guy down, and then it's going to be then bigger than, you know, 1 millimeter. You could use that. You can use, you know, scrap piece of plastic if you wanted to. Just something that'll get you a nice square, straight line or groove, you know, with this being said. And yeah, I mean, it's It's honestly pretty simple. But like I said, attention to detail, precision, and patience, that's going to be everything in that particular endeavor, right? Because you need to take your time, right? You need to make sure that, you know, all the passes that you are, you know, doing are, you know, fairly straight, level with the surface of the plastic as well. Because sometimes what I find is I hold the chisel sometimes. Say this is the surface of the plastic. Well, you know, you want to hold it perpendicular at a 90-degree angle, but sometimes and I'm exaggerating obviously, but sometimes I'll hold it at a slight angle, you know, like this, and one side is a little lower than the other. So that's another thing you have to, you know, really monitor when you're doing this. And what I would say is, you know how much pressure that you apply, you know, when you make a pass. Count the passes that you do, and then, you know, maybe see if those are the same, you know, rough depth, you know, and then that way at that point it could be repeatable at an easier clip at that point, you know. So yeah, that's what I would do. So but yeah, Bill had a really great point. Let me kind of show you what Bill kind of meant here too, right? So for instance, we're going to use the same, you know, scrap piece of plastic here, right? And say, you know, you want to do, say maybe like, you know, a couple millimeters from the edge, right? So you measure over, and then with a smaller chisel, maybe like 0.2, 0.15, 0.1, whatever, you know, something small, you can kind of make a few light passes here, you know, just setting the line, right? And then, so we know exactly how far we are from the edge, then we can measure over about, you know, a little over that 1 millimeter, however much, you know, that you need, right about there. So basically you have your edges, right? And then at that point, this is going to be a little wider than 1 millimeter, right? So you take your 1 millimeter chisel and you can shimmy your ruler just a hair back over that second line, and then you're just basically clearing away material, right? Just like this. And you can go freehand with a lot of this because you've already set the outside edges, right, with the first two lines. But yeah, same type of thing. It gets you the same gets you to the same exact point. So whatever your personal preference is, go with it. You know, both are equally as good in my opinion. So Yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Either one is really, really good. So, yeah. Let's get caught back up with the chat before we jump into the work here, shall we? Let's see. Bill responded to Apex only if it involves shots of you hobbying, right? Work on a model. Todd says, how was everyone's 4th of July? Oh man, quiet. I stayed home and I worked. Amber was out all day with friends. She was enjoying hanging out with them. They went to the pool. They went to the parade. Ran home from the ran away from the rain. They drove there, so they ran back to their car because it downpoured here as the parade was ending, and then came back here for a little bit. Cooked out some hot dogs, had some glizzies. They went to the fireworks. Came back. She took her friends home, and that was it. And I just worked all day. It was very peaceful, very peaceful. So yeah. Enrico says editing this stuff takes a ton of time and effort, but thankfully I'm used to it thanks to my skate videos. Imagine leaving a camera on a tripod for a full hour or two only to keep a few tries. Oh dude, trust me, I know that type of feeling. I used to shoot testimonials for for the old job and everything, and yeah. When people started talking, some people just couldn't shut up, and there would be an hour of footage that I'd have to go through, and I'd just be like, oh God, this is terrible, because I didn't care about the content. The content didn't matter to me, but it's just like, yeah, pretty bad. Anyway, Apex Nerd, you know the rules. Subscribe. Gio says, my next kit is going to be the Real Grade Tall Geese, but that's only because I want to try the Mr. Color 1500 on the Real Grade inner frame. Nice. Hopefully you don't have any more issues with it, Gio, but it's from what it sounds like you kind of, we got this thing kicked and everything, so fingers crossed. Let's see. Andrew says, boring out by me, just how I prefer it. There we go. Apex is starting his Only Scars page for Andrew. There we go. Ay. Bill said he said they were square, so I would guess. Oh, that was from before. Gotcha. Okay, we're past that. Looks like Bill found. What did Bill find? What do we have here, Bill? Oh, come on. Where did it go? Toy. Oh, there it is. Oh man, my fucking eyes. Whew. Oh, look at that. $5. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, go buy that. Straight up. That Toy Nest World has the same T-square, the little wave T-square that I use. This one here. Actually, this is the older version. They have the newer, better version. This is the 382. They have the 385 with the little cutout notches at the corners here and everything. So that's even better. So yeah, for $5, oh my God, go buy that. Holy crap. He says Hobby Lobby has a $1 thin steel rulers if you don't need the T-square. Andrew says, Bill, have you tried to check out from Toy Nest? They are charging $25 for shipping. What? Holy shit. Eris is with us. Hello, Tim in chat. What's going on, buddy? Let's see. Mike Dawson says, I'm just here working on my perfect grade new before work. Fun. Bill's like, honestly, price plus shipping will be about the same. Yeah. Yeah, sifting through all the footage. Yeah, no shit. Terrible. Let's see. Blaze Tatum. Well. Hello, sleepyhead. What's going on, right? Oh, man. It was rough. It was rough yesterday. Bill says flat rate shipping is $25 from Toy Nest. Ugh. That's rough, man. Andrew says Toy Nest is a bit deceptive, Tim. They have a banner saying free shipping anywhere in the U.S., but went to check out and they have a $25 flat rate shipping. Fuck that. You must have to spend, you know, a certain amount of money to, you know, get that free shipping or whatever. But damn, $25 for a $5 ruler? Come on, man. That's a bit rough. That's a bit rough, I would say. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, all right, kiddos, let's see. Here we go. We are working on the side skirts today. Now, we started by scribing this end of last week, and we got, there we go. We got those nice little panel lines right there around the bottom, and we've got these little drop lines right there corresponding with that little notch. That's pre-molded. I didn't add that or anything. Those wrap all the way around, and then obviously I glued on this. This is, what is this, 1/2 millimeter plate, and that's strapped all the way up and around to the top. All evened out, applied with super glue. Everything is filled in nicely, looking really, really good. That's kind of the initial design that I came up with, and I kind of wanted something a little bit chunky for the side skirts, because when you put them on the Shiki itself, it's not bad, but I'd say it's a little, maybe a little anemic, if you will. So I want to add a little some, and even with the arm mounted there, there's just a ton of space, and that's not even, you know, that's not even the arms flared out like he's got big lats, you know what I mean? Like, that's not like, you know, out here, like football pose or bodybuilder or something like that. That's like, you know, almost straight up and straight down, right? So I'm kind of thinking we can add something chunky, especially at the top there, because I kind of like the idea of some chunky bits up at the top of that side skirt. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing here for this guy. And like I said, this is kind of the initial design that I came up with. And one thing that I really found that I like, this is one of the Apex parts from USA Gundam Store, and I kind of really like this whole shape here. So what I'm thinking is to put this right down at the bottom here, and this is really good because this is 8 millimeters wide, so we have a nice 1 millimeter border all the way around, and that's going to come in actually quite handy because we're going to do something with that here. But yeah, that looks really good, kind of to start the process off. And we're going to leave some of the space above it recessed, and then we're going to add some nice heavy plating up at the top here and some chunky bits and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to start off with here today. So with that being said, I want to start working on those chunky bits. We're going to leave this Apex part off to later. But like I said, I want to start off with the chunky bits first. So first things first, we need to get the inner frame out of here. Easiest thing to do is just kind of take a pair of pliers, obviously, and just wiggle that some bitch off of there. So easiest thing I've come across here at this point. So all right, so here we go. We need a 10 millimeter wide strip, long enough or wide enough to get right there, and we're going to use a heavy 1 millimeter for this, and then we're actually going to add on top of that too. So this all should be pretty interesting once we're done with it, right? So, all right, let me check the width here on the chopper. This should still be dialed in at 10. It is. Good. All right, so get the ends squared up there. We got 1, we got 2. Done and done. All right, perfect. So we've got our 2 2 strips. We're gonna put the chopper off to the side, and then let's go ahead and start to mount this stuff here. All right, let's get the blocks in so I know where the camera is here. Right about there. Perfect. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue this right up to the top here, just like this, and then we're gonna start to just strap this over and bulk this up with these chunky bits. I just love the term chunky bits. It sounds really freaking gross, but you know, it is what it is. Have some chunky bits. I love the chunky bits. All right. There we go. All right. And get our little needle here. Get this nice and spread. Probably a bit too much there, I think. But c'est la vie. All right. Uh-oh. Shit. Okay. Woohoo. Disaster averted. It got, I guess got some glue on the tweezers, and the tweezers wouldn't come off. And then it started pulling the piece off the line, but I was able to push it back. So yeah, problem averted. All right, let's get a little kicker in here. Get this stuff set. There we go. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right. So then, let's get caught up real quick while we are waiting for this stuff to cure. Let's see. Bill says I can continue to look around for options if you want, Andrew. He says I might go with Gunzo option. Bill, thank you though. Yeah, Gunzo I would say is probably a safe option at that point. They're fairly well known, I would say. Let's see. Bill posted a link to Garma Hobby. Not familiar with them. $8 plus 15 to Illinois. Okay. Let's see. Todd says I'm thinking about buying a painting booth this or next month. Interesting. Okay. All right. What are you thinking about getting there, Todd? Or, you know, also too, have you thought about the DIY route? Because you can kind of basically make it however you want. So, just throwing it out there. Bill says, I hate how these hobby tools are so freaking common in Asia and so cheap. Then you have to search so hard to find the handful of places in the US that carry them and hope they have them in stock. Welcome to the story of my life, buddy. Yeah. It's one of those things. You know, you got to either hunt around and find them in the US or, you know, try to get them shipped over, from Asia or something like that, and have to worry about, fucking tariff and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a royal pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying? Royal pain in the ass. All right. That all looks cured. Excellent. Excellent. As I drop it. So, first things first, let's get the glue squeeze out cleaned up here on this side. Okay. Good there. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Perfect edge. Excellent. All right, so I'm not going to worry about the glue squeeze out on this side because that's actually going to work as filler for us at this point. So what I'm actually going to do is just start to clip off this extra plastic here. There we go, perfect. And then now, let's just start to trim this up a little bit. Ooh, ooh, almost got me. That almost got me. Little soft bit there in the plastic, man. Little soft bit in the plastic. Almost got me. Okay. That's a good start. All right, let's get this squared up here. Okay, so far so good. How's that look? That's a little uneven on one side. Okay, so let's get this. Ooh, shit. Sorry, you guys. Didn't mean to hit the camera. Didn't mean to hit the camera. There we go. Now we're making some good headway. Sometimes you just got to pull out the good old 180 grit and hog at it, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to get after it. Let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty damn good. Let's get a good measurement here first. Ooh, it's a little heavy on one side actually. Okay. A little heavy on one side. So with that, we're gonna how that did it. That looks pretty good. Let's get an actual measurement here though. 3 mil. Mm, 3 mil, perfect. All right, so that's good and square and even right around there. So that's looking really nice. You can start to see the bulk develop there, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the other piece of plastic and we're going to strap that over the top there, and you can kind of see it'll even bulk it up more, right? So that's what we're going to do here next. So we'll get caught up in the chat here in a second. That nice and spread out there. Very good, very good. All right, and then place this. Make sure we're nice and even. There we go, very good. Very, very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. That is looking good. All right, so let's get this kicked. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's get caught up in the chat, yeah? Let's see here. Let's see. Andrew says, I might be back for the rest of the stream, but I need some lunch. Have fun all. Bill, Andrew, take care. Take care, buddy. Let's see. Todd says, I thought about making one, but it would take me a lot of work. I seen one on Amazon for $112 Canadian. Okay. Swanky's with us. He says, hello, everybody. Swank, what's going on, bud? He says, I'll send you the link later, Tim. Actually, I think he just sent me the link. Let me take a look here. Let's see what we got. Let's see the Vivor. Okay. Whatever. Oh, come on. There it is. Okie dokie. The Vivor. It's got good reviews. It's just a little guy, you know. That's not too bad. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say go with that. Vivor, you know, Vivor, they do a lot of rebranding and stuff like that, you know, from other kind of, you know, white label companies. But they have actually a pretty good reputation, all things considered. So, yeah, good reviews on it, good number of reviews. I'd give it a shot. Why not, right? Like I said, it's a little guy, you know, it'll get the job done. You know, you can't, you know, do these big hulking pieces or anything like that in it, but, you know, it'll definitely get the job done. You know, the DIY route, the only reason why I mentioned is because obviously I did the DIY route. I got, you know, the whole huge monster fucking spray booth over here. You know, you could spray freaking car parts in it and stuff if you wanted to, I think. But, you know, I just like having a lot of room to, you know, spray and everything like that, and light and all of that. So I made it myself custom. But, you know, you could get, you know, these, you know, totes, you know, these bins from like Home Depot, Lowe's, you know, one of those. And, you know, put a fan in the back of it and hose and all that, and, you know, you're good to go. So, yeah, I mean, it's all on what you want to do, really. Either way, it should be fine. So, yeah. Bill says, if you're looking for a paint booth, can I assume you are planning to spray lacquer paints like Gaia SMS, Mr. Color? If so, have you picked up a mask yet? That is important. That is very important. So, Bill, thank you for mentioning that. He says, make sure you get the right kind of filters for it, as you need that solvent filtration for your mask. Yeah. He says, it's going to be mostly for primer and top coat. Okay. So, yeah, you will be using solvent-based primers. Yeah. So, yep. Let's see. Mikey says, time to head out later, everyone. Mikey, take care, bud. Todd says, I'll be getting a filtered mask at the end of July. There you go. Yep, got that. Everything's good. Maybe next year I'll probably start getting into airbrushing. There you go. There you go. Bill says, I use the 6002 acid vapor filters for my mask, and he posted a link here for us to peruse. Oh man, my fucking eyes. Let's see, what? Unblock this ad. Come on, man. Oh, get fucked. Oh my god. What is this website, Bill? Oh, it's making me wait. It's making me wait 10 seconds to unblock an ad. There we go, finally. Jesus. What a pain in the ass. I'll tell you what. That would make me not want to use the site at all. That's a pain. That's a huge pain. Holy hell. let's see. Anyway, Bill said the 6002 acid vapor, 6002 acid gas. Okay, interesting. Huh? Look at that. Shit. I just got the ones from Home Depot and just going like, fuck it. Huh? I'm gonna have to keep this in mind. I'm gonna have to keep these in mind because I like my old mask, but it's kind of ratty and worn out. Man, some of these on here are really cool. Like the full-on like fireman's breather mask. That's actually, I'm not gonna lie, that's actually kind of cool. It's super overkill for what we do, but it's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, fun times. Let's see. Todd says, when I get a bigger place, I'll build one. Only in a 1-bedroom. I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Bill says, just a 3M guide on filters and cartridges. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Mr. Lelouch Brian, he says, well, look what the cat dragged in. Timothy, the ancient bearded Harkins. Nice. What's going on, Brian? Oh, fuck. Kelvin, question.
We have a question.
He says, Tim, do you have the 40th Kitten Blue Pearl? If so, can we it? Well, mainly me. Can we see it? Is what I'm assuming. What is that one? The pearl? The really light pearl? Let's take a looky look, shall we? I think I do. I have them all. I have all the 40th. What is this? This is the Kitten Blue Pearl. Here we go. It is very subtle, but it's pretty freaking cool. I will say that. It is pretty freaking cool. Now, I don't know if this is going to translate on camera, but it's definitely pearled. Ooh, that actually does kind of translate on camera. Oh, man. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, just in the highlights, you can see that pearlescence come through. Let's crack it open. Where'd the wrench go? Here it is. Let's shake it. Give it a shake, give it a shake, give it a shake. Now, this is considered a pearl color, quote unquote, but by the cap, it's basically a clear. Yeah. So there you can kind of see. Once this thing is thinned down, whew, that is strong as shit, isn't it? But yeah, once this thing is thinned down, you spray this over top of something, and it'll give it a pearlescent tone. Really, really nice, really nice, and you can kind of see in the highlights. Yeah. That's a nice little. It's a nice little pop of, accent or something like that. This would look great on a cube lay. Yeah. Spray the white down first. You spray this over top of it. Ooh, yeah. You get that pearlescent color throughout those curved armor pieces. Yeah, really, really nice. I think this would look perfect on a cube lay. Or, if you're doing like a car or something like that, this would be insane on a car model. Do maybe like a metallic color. Oh, you know what? Where did it go? Where'd it go? You know what? Here we go. Here we go. Rawr. Here's what you do. Here's what you do, Calvin. Here's what you do. Since you just ordered some of the cranberry red pearl, right? Spray this sucker down, and then you put this over top of it, and then holy shit, you got pearl for days. That'll look insane. So, food for thought. I'm just throwing it out there. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. I don't know if it'll work, but it might. But it's a nice color. It's a nice color. So, yeah. Let's see. Bill says, see it? Yeah, it is really nice with a hint of blue and blue pearl in it. Yeah, it is super nice. Let's see. Bowie240ian, what's going on? He says, hello. Hello. White with a hint of blue. There you go. Brian says, where were you, my man? I had my popcorn and kit to build ready last night, but no, I saw a chicken sandwich being built. Just kidding, just kidding. Oh, well, I was dead to 2 hours of sleep. Yeah, bud. So for those of you just joining us, yeah, I was supposed to stream last night, but I fell out. I passed out at like 6 p.m. last night, and I woke up at like, I think the clock said 10:24, and I was just like, ah, shit. And I look at my phone, and I got 3 messages actually. The third one was from Renee, and she tried calling me around 9:30, but I was dead asleep. But yeah, Bill and Andrew messaged me last night and all of that. And so I passed out. And I didn't wake up until like 3 this morning, and then had dinner at 5 a.m. this morning. So yeah, that it was a long weekend. Let's put it that way. It was a very, very long but productive weekend, because we got the last Teen Titans, the Titans test team insignia done. So yeah, it was productive. So. Let's see. Bowie says, I just watched the first 7 episodes of Zeta Gundam, and it's really a funny show. Not gonna lie. Oh man, it's been so long since I've watched Zeta. It's got some moments. You know what I mean? It's got some moments from what I remember. Brian says, would you like a Boa-a-Woer? What? I don't know. Anyway. Brian says, I was about to message Brandon or Bill to do a house call or wellness check. Get out of here, man. Soon you'll be able to do that on your own, right? Once I get down to North Carolina, shit. But then you'll have to deal with Renee. So, I don't know if you want to do that. Anywho. Nah, she's a big teddy bear. Anywho. All right, so let's get back on this. And let's get this piece trimmed up. This is all obviously 100% cured. We're looking good. We just need to take off the excess and everything here. So let's just kind of trim this back, do the heavy lifting right there. And then on this side, it's a little difficult to get in simply because of the angles and everything here with my nippers. So we're going to just basically kind of do what we can. There we go. That's good enough. That's good enough. All right, so let's start with the back and trim this up here. Let's get the digits out of the way. I think we're getting close to needing a blade change on this knife. I don't think we're there just yet, but we're getting close. Am I on camera? No, of course not. There we go. Sorry about that, kids. Okay. A couple more passes here. Okay, I think we're good there. Let's just scrape this down to even everything out. Very nice. Very good, very good. All right, so now let's go at the outside here. That's looking really, really good straight out of the gate. But a couple more passes here, and I think we'll be nice and even. Okay, actually, they may be good to go right here. Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. All right. So we got that built up. That's nice and chunky looking now. That's a good start, I think, for me. That's a good start. Now, real quick before we move on, I do want to clean up the edges here and get these nice and flattened out, trimmed up, all that good stuff here, because we got, you know, super glue squeeze out, you know, slight differences in width and all that. I just want to make sure everything is just super nice and even and flush with each other here. There we go. Very nice. Yeah. Perfect. And that super glue filled in that little corner there perfectly. So I was pretty happy about that. Now, there's a little... Okay, we're going to need to sand this down just a little bit there. Because I see a little divot kind of in the shadows and stuff like that. But real quick, let's just get this... tidied up here. Okay. All right, very nice, very nice, very nice. All right, cool. So, with that being said, let's just real quick even this out here. Okay, just a little bit more. I think I went a little too heavy on the knife work. I'm trying to trim up that last piece there. All right, now we're good. Now we're good. Let's just a little sanding here just to get everything perfect. Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, that's perfect. See, the trick of it is to hold the piece at a really sharp angle to your light source, right? And then that will start to cast shadows across the surface of the piece, and then that way you can really pick out any sort of surface imperfections, dips, bumps, what have you. Just a kind of a trick that I picked up watching, of all things, detailing videos, car detailing. You know, because these guys, especially like in, you know, collision repair, they would, you know, have these lights, and they would hold it like almost perpendicular to the surface, like the hood or something like that, just to see if there were any dents that they still needed to fix or anything like that before they would go to, finish the part off and, prime and paint and everything. So, just kind of one of those things that you pick up along the way, So, all right. Let's see. Kelvin, he says, other than my sentence structure, oh yeah, Batman. Nice. Bowie says, and I am really keen on finding a master grade turn A in my country since I really like Sid Mead's art style. Right? Sid Mead. Oh man, that's a name I have not thought about in a very, very long time. Sid Mead was, God, probably the first famous concept artist / futurist back in the late 70s and early 80s. And I remember in elementary school going into, our school's library and stuff like that. And there, teacher was just like, okay, pick any book that you want, right? And mind you, I'm like in second, third grade, so I'm still young, right? Going into the library and finding Sid Mead's like picture books. And, they were like glimpses into the future or something like that. And they weren't like crazy thick, like adult style art books. They were, they were meant for kids, juveniles and stuff. But, and it was all like artwork and, a few captions here and there. But man, that got me. I remember specifically this one image that he painted, and it was a far future, some other planet racetrack where they were racing these, very large robotic greyhounds. So think about the pod racer racetrack, from the first Star Wars movie on Tatooine, that, that kind of look. And then instead of pod racers, inject these gigantic chrome greyhounds with, kind of riders in the back, kind of between the shoulder blades, almost like in a cockpit, almost like, the early, biplane cockpits where it was open and everything. You had the one stick and, you would wear the goggles and shit. And that's basically what these cockpits would look like in the back of these giant robotic greyhounds. And it was just awesome. And I remember the image very, very vividly because you had a group of like 3 of these, chromed out robotic greyhounds kind of turning the corner, and you see the stands and, the announcer's box and everything. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I was just absolutely enraptured, by that image at a very, very young age, mind you. And that just, I think that kind of set the tone for a lot of things, yeah, man, Sid Mead, he was one of the first kind of goats in terms of, concept art and stuff like that. It was like him, H.R. Geiger, Drew, what's his name? Oh, he was the one that did all of the awesome movie posters, the Indiana Jones posters, the Goonies, Drew Struzan, something like that. I have his art book upstairs with all of his posters in it, and he was awesome. These were the first kind of rock and roll kind of, modern, I guess, commercial artists and stuff like that. And all 3 of them had a huge impact, on me at a very, very young age. And I just, I fell in love with all of that stuff. And I even went back and tried to find those early books, those kids' books that I looked at on things like, on like Amazon. I couldn't find them. I mean, they're just so out of print, it's not even funny. I wish I could find them. I would love to have those. But man, Sid Mead, He's a good one. He's a good one. Excuse me. Let's see. Gio says, doesn't Mr. Color have a line of paint like the one you just showed? So Gio, the ones that we just showed were from Mr. Color, but these are the 40th anniversary. These were limited edition colors. Yeah, these were. So this is number 3. This is number 4. The one that I'm using for the complement color on the Shiki is actually number 1, the graphite black. Super nice, kind of dark gray metallic. I do love that color. Yeah, these were the 40th anniversary colors that they put out. Yeah, so there you go, Bill. He says yes. That is the limited run. Yeah, exactly. Bill said Sid Mead's art always makes me think of Isaac Asimov books. Ooh, that would be a killer combo. I don't know if they ever did anything, but yeah, that would be good. Bowie says, at first I hate the turn A until I watch and research and watch documentaries and even look all over Sid Mead's other stuff. I slowly give turn A the respect and love it deserves, right? Yeah. See, I'm not a huge fan of the turn A, the original turn A design. I like the turn X. That is a good design. And mind you, I could talk about designs all day long. I personally like, what is it, the Shinden version, whatever the Build Fighters updated version of the turn A was. I think it was a stronger design, which I really liked better than, unfortunately, Sid Mead's version. But yeah, the turn X though, yeah, it's really good. He says, I really love Sid's industrial designing for what could happen in the future and how it's beautiful. Yeah, those were the books. I'm glad somebody else remembers those. It wasn't just me, right? He also says, and I don't blame the reviewers using the white chest part for the Master Grade Turn A. There you go. Bill says, Turn A is its own beast, just like the G-Duck. I call it G-Duck. I don't know how do you pronounce that, but I just say G-Duck, quack, quack. So you almost have to go into them with no expectations. As far as Zeta, I cannot stand Camille. Well, it is a girl's name. Hey-o. Swanky says, this is a question.
We have a question.
He says, what do you use to get rid of nub marks? Excellent question, Swanky. Excellent question, my friend. Let me show you. Let me find, here we go. Perfect. So, okay, here, I just happen to have just a spare runner here, right? So we'll just clip off some parts and we'll show you. All right, so real quick, let me get my visor on. Let me get things kind of pushed out of the way. Bear with me 1 second here. All right, so I'm just gonna take one of these pieces off here. They look unimportant. I don't think I will need these anytime soon, at least not 3. Now I usually cut pretty close. These, again, Tamiya 123s. These are my nipper of choice, and I just usually, like I said, I cut pretty close, if not right up against the plastic. And there we go. So we've got, obviously little nubbies all the way around, right? Now, first things first, what I always do is I start every single build. Whenever I snap, I always start with a fresh blade. So I was actually mentioning that here a few seconds ago, so why not just replace it now, yeah? So let's go ahead and do that. So drop that, get that pointy side down, get in there. There we go. Pointy side down. Let's get us, is that a single blade? Yeah, it is. Okie dokie. So always start with a brand new fresh blade, right? That's important. Now, I don't use files. Like, you know, you see a lot of people, you know, talk up glass files and, you know, razors and erasers and all that. It's like, yeah, whatever. I can do the same thing with a knife, right? So, nice fresh blade. That's crucial, right? Nice fresh blade. So right here, little nubby on camera, perfect. Just start taking little shallow passes at it, right? And there you go. And if you want it really nice and flat, just do a couple scrapes. Chances are there may be a mold line here, like in this part. So a couple scrapes with the knife, it won't be a bad thing. It'll even that surface out there. There you go. Right now, let's do this one here. Same thing. And you can see the little shards of plastic on the knife, right? Just little itty bitty razor thin passes. And that's it. Nothing to it. And there it is, nice and flat, even Steven. Now, I do have. Do I have a? Where's the glass? I do have a glass file, but I'll be honest with you, I never use the damn thing. And I got one of these El Cheapo glass files off of Amazon, and they don't even make this or carry this on Amazon anymore. This is the Bezox, but I'm sure, you know, this is just a rebrand of something, right? So, I mean, you can take this thing, right, and just really get a super nice finish, don't get me wrong. And if you're not painting yet, then this may be the way to go. But since I always paint and everything, it doesn't really matter to me, if I'm being honest, right? But yeah, I mean, it does a really good job. I mean, look at the surface finish. I mean, that's glossy now, right? Which is really kind of incredible. You know, what these things can do, and it's obviously being a glossy, you know, type of finish, you know, then it's perfectly flat too. So that's, you know, it is a nice finish. I'm not gonna lie, it is a nice finish, but it's a finish that I don't always need. You know what I mean? Mainly, like I said, because I paint. So that's gonna disappear anyways. So yeah. Let's see. Bowie says Shin Turne Gun. Yeah, that's the one. It was the Shin. I knew it was Shin something, like Shinden or something. Yeah. Yeah. Bill says he is often using his own sanding blocks or the God Hand. Yeah, that's another good one. The God Hand is good. This guy right here, this thing that I inherited. But I find, you know, this is good for evening surfaces out. Excuse me. Get the dust off this thing because it is rough right now. I should probably take a flame to this and really get it clean. But that'll be for a later date. Yeah. Get the tooth back in that sumbitch. Let's see. He says, or if you have a ceramic scraper, you can use that instead of your hobby knife blade to scrape. Yeah, that's true too. Where did mine go? I had it here the other day. Here it is. Yeah. One of these little guys. Right? And it's just, and like Bill said, it's a ceramic blade. It is not sharp. right? It is not sharp at all, as you can see. You know, like, it won't cut you. But yeah, I mean, where did that part go? You can do the same type of thing, like especially on mold lines, right? Like on the top here, you can see the faint little mold line right there in the middle. That's what, you know, where this comes into play really, really nicely. And basically the mold line is just that little kind of infinitesimal difference in registration, you know, where the mold came together. Yeah, and there you go. That mold line is no more. Easy peasy, right? And like I said, I just, you know, you can go back and forth, where you can go in one direction, you can go in the other direction. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So really nice stuff. But you know, when you get into painting and stuff like that, Swanky, you'll be sanding a lot of these surfaces down, like you've seen me do. Either way, if you're scraping with, you know, your knife, or if you're scraping with a ceramic scraper, or if you're using the God hand, or if you're using the glass file, or if you're using like a needle file or something like that, same type of thing, right? Let's see, right here on this surface, right? We'll do the same thing here with the needle file. Am I on camera? Yep. Some of these guys, you know, you'll see, you know, be super careful, and you only see them go in one direction. That's a waste, in my opinion. It's kind of horseshit. It's just like, okay, you just want to be fancy, that's fine. Or if you want to follow some old wives' tales about, you know, just filing in one direction, I mean, whatever floats your boat, right? But going back and forth, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Yeah. And again, you get the same type of thing, right? Same flat surface. Easy peasy. So, yeah. So basically, what it all comes down to is there's a lot of different ways to get to the same endpoint. You know what I mean? There's always going to be options, and there's no one correct way to do things. There's only your way, you know, and you have to kind of find your way, what you're most comfortable with, the way that you get the best results for you, right? So that's kind of, I guess, one of the biggest things. It's finding out what works best for you. So yeah. Swanky says, thanks, Tim. You're welcome, buddy. And Bill. There we go. Bowie says, Jesus Christ, it's glossy and shiny. Oh yeah, that one surface from the glass file. Yeah, dude. Look at that. One more time for those of you at home. Where's the light? Oh, yeah, look at that. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of wild, actually. That is kind of wild. So, yeah, and this is just, like I said, this is just a generic glass file. It's not like one of your expensive razors, eraser, whatever, you know, things that are out there. So you don't really need those expensive ass glass files. Are they nice to have? I guess. Do you need them? No. So, you know, it is what it is. Bill says, always happy to help when I'm here. I may not be present much this week, so if you do need any help, just leave a message for me on the community post. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate everything you do, buddy. Seriously. Swanky says, I always thought that was an X-Acto knife. He says, I like how that looks compared to glossy. Oh, the scraper. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, it really is going to be dependent on, you know, if you're going to get into painting or not, right? When you get into painting, obviously a lot of all of this is going to be covered in paint, so it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. Glass files are kind of nice if you're not painting, and you do want kind of a, you know, a nice surface. It depends on kind of where you are skill wise at that point. So let's see, Vim123 is over there on Twitch, giving us a little emoji. Hi. Bill says single direction filing is mostly for wood, so you don't cause tear out due to the grain in the wood fibers. Not really an issue with plastic. Yeah, exactly, right? But I see a lot of, especially Gunpla dudes out there doing just the one direction filing, and I'm just like, you're making it so much harder than it's got to be, buddy. You're making it so much harder than it's got to be. Anyway, all right, let's get back on this, yeah? All right, so we got, what time is it? 1:35. Okay, cool. So we got our chunky bits started here. Still love that line, that little chunky bits. I love the chunky bits. So we got all that started to build up. That's looking really, really nice there. That's exactly what I wanted. So now let's start to build this up even more. What I want to do is put a few kind of big honking straps right around the edges, probably 2.5, 3 millimeters. Let's take a look and see what that looks like. I think this is 2 millimeters. Yeah, that's 2 millimeters, so that's a little thin. Don't want that. This looks like it's 3.2. And it is. This is 3.2. So basically if we put one there and there, there's not enough real estate there. All right, I'm going with 2. Even though I said it was a little thin. What is this? Is this 2.5? It's 2.5, yeah. So that'll be 5. So we'll have 5 millimeters in the middle. Yeah, I'm still not comfortable with that. So yeah, let's go with 2. Shit. So we'll go with 2 millimeters, and then you can kind of see how much chunkier the outside is going to look, right? I think that's going to look sick. That's going to look really, really nice. I think I'm going to be super happy with that. Yeah. All right. So let's get some lengths of this cut, and we're just going to use the nippers here to make life easier. So one there. One there. All right. Now then, again, we're going to use super glue. Okay. Just a little drop. And we're going to get our little spreader here. And really the only thing that we're worried about is the edge, because we're going to trim everything else off. We want it just perfect with the edge there. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's good. That's good and even. Excellent. All right. So we'll do the same thing on the other side here. A little dab will do you. All right, same thing. Just really worried about the edge.
Oh, you little bastard. Tried to maneuver it.
Ah, okay. Alright.
Well, that happens. Alright, so basically what we got to do is just start this process over again. So just quickly scrape off as much of the super glue as possible. Yeah, I was trying to shimmy over the piece because it was a little away from the edge, but yeah.
C'est la vie. All right, so we're gonna get rid of this strip here because this is no good anymore. So let's get another
Little strip here. One more time.
one more time. Okay.
Okay, that's better. Yeah, much better placement. Much better placement. Perfect. Perfect.
All right, excellent. All right, so let's get this kicked.
Both of these pieces here. Boom. Boom.
Very nice. All right, let that cure for a second. Let's get caught up. Let's see. Bowie says, oh yeah, I want to ask. Oh, question.
We have a question.
Is it okay to use coloring markers to paint your Gunpla? Since I'm really have a tight budget, I wanted to practice coloring. Sure, absolutely, 100%. So it's perfectly fine, 100% perfectly fine. Now, there does need to be expectations when you work with markers, right? And mind you, I've never worked with markers. But there is an expectation, simply because working with markers is similar to hand painting, right? So, you know, when you are working with markers, you're not going to get the same finish as you would with an airbrush or, you know, rattle cans or things like that. I mean, you can come close, but, you know, I've never seen a marker, you know, a marker paint job as good as that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, if you're starting out, budget's tight, fuck yeah, use markers. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Do what you can within your limitations. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, Bill says people do it and it is a style. Yeah, because sometimes that's a really good point, Bill. Not actually one I didn't think about that. Because yeah, I mean, you can get really crazy with markers too. You can do that like kind of cell shaded type of thing, which is stupid cool. I forget who did it, but shit, I saw one done, I think it was last week or the week before, that really kind of blew me away because the style of it was a bit grittier from what I've seen a lot of people do, and I just loved it. And I completely forgot who did it, and for the life of me, I wish I could remember. But yeah, I mean, that whole kind of cel-shaded kind of graffiti art look is insane, and I dig it. So yeah, you could do that. You could do a lot of things with markers, honestly. But yeah, I mean, the finish, you know, finish isn't as good. It's still decent, but it's not as good as if, you know, it's spraying, you know, your pieces and stuff. So that's the only thing you got to remember. Bill says, do you plan to use the markers on the whole kit? Just some sections? Do you plan to use primer first? Maybe you might think about aerosol cans of paint for the primary color and then use markers. All good points. Bowie says, plan on some parts, but also consider to do some of the arms or legs. Bill says, just food for thought. Whatever you want to do, do it. Go for it. And if we can help make it better, we will try to be there. Absolutely. Fuck yeah. Absolutely. And Bowie says, okay, thank you, man. Hell yeah. See, that's what we do here. And like I said, I think it was Swanky, when Swanky started watching with us. I had said that, we may build at an elite level, but we are not elitist. And that still holds true. That still holds very true. All right, let me hydrate here real quick. Or actually just get a drink, so. Jolly good. Jolly good. All right, 1:45. Where's the time gone? My God. All right, let's get back to this thing. Let's see if we can finish these chunky straps before we punch the clock today. I think we can do it. We just got to work a little quick. All right, let's get the top trimmed up here. This should be simple and much easier now with this new blade. I just gotta be careful not to cut myself. Famous last words, right? I can hear Brian. Oh shit, Tim cut himself again. I don't cut myself that much. There we go. Very nice. Man, that sharp blade makes a huge fucking difference. Makes such a huge difference. It's not even funny. Alright. Let's get these bottom sections done up here. Be careful not to slip. Very good, very good. So one thing I was thinking about the other day is I remember, I think it was Brian, that
Intruder alert, intruder alert,
oh
intruder
shit!
alert.
Here we go. Here we go. We got us a raid. Flip nut doodad or whatever. Here we go with 9 viewers. Welcome, folks. Flip nut doodad 88. Appreciate the raid. Thank you, dude. Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the Chada Mecha live stream. I'm Tim, the one and only Chada Mecha. If you haven't been here before, I build and customize cool shit, Gunpla primarily, and we're working on one today. We're working on the Hyaku Shiki 2.0. Hey, Flip Nut Doodad 88. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the raid as well. Appreciate that. Welcome to the family. Yeah, we do heavy customizations here. Things like that. We do lots of scribing, lots of custom work. Say for instance, this is what we're working on right now. This is the Hyaku Shiki side skirt, and we are plating this up and going to town on it. So that's kind of what you can expect here, and hopefully you like what you see. Hopefully you stick around. Hopefully you learn something. And if you got a question that we could help answer, put it in the chat. We'll help you out. So, but yeah, we're gonna continue on with this. We're gonna punch the clock here, probably about 10 minutes or so. So you came in at just the the tail end of the stream, but we're still happy to have you. So welcome, you guys. Welcome. All right. So with that being said, let's get back to this. Now, what I was saying, kind of before the raid alert went off, and that's all. I love the new raid alert, by the way. One of the things that I was thinking about, I had mentioned to Brian, Mr. Lelouch over here on YouTube, about how to hold his, the hobby chisel and really scribe with precision, right? And I was thinking about it, and it's the same holds true with the blade here too, with your hobby knife. So you can kind of see how really tight and kind of choked down right up against the tip of the blade I am with this, and that just gives me just ultra precision. And you can kind of see those little, barely nothing strips of plastic that come off here. So very high precision, and that's kind of, what you're looking for really, and that's basically a perfect surface now. So the tighter that you kind of choke down on these tools, the better precision that you're going to have. The more accuracy. They're going to go into the direction or into the places they'll achieve the tasks that you want them to achieve. So that's also super important. So keep all that in mind. All right, we're looking good. Let's clean out the super glue squeeze out right here just real quick. Well, we got this nice fresh blade up in here, right there. Be very careful because this will cut right through that strip and into my digits, and I don't want that again. There we go. Yeah, see how we just cleared off that little glue squeeze out? That's perfect right there. So now we have a nice clean 90-degree angle in here. Very nice. Now, to even this out, because we do need to just even that out a little bit, because it's not as perfect as I want. We're gonna use the God hand file thing here and just flatten this out. Pretty good. Nice. And I'm just checking that to make sure that that's flat, and to make sure that this top is parallel to the bottom of this section here. Cool. All right, excellent. It's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we want. Now, we're gonna, again, strap over these chunky bits along the top here. So we're gonna need another couple lengths of the 2mm strip. Where did it go? There it is. Now, the big question here is, do we go full 1mm, or do we maybe go 0.5 millimeter on the top here? Yeah, we go full 1mm. I don't give a shit. Let's go. Right there. Right there. All right. So we got our other lengths here. Let's just check in with the chat here, shall we? Let's see. Flipping nut doodad. I do love that fucking name. My God. He says, I'm working my way up to that. Excellent. Dude, you came to the right place then. Because, like I said, that's kind of what we do. And, you know, that's kind of my thing. I try to teach what I know to kind of the next generation of modelers. So, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Wife has demanded my attention. I have to go. Oh, man. I get it. Hey, Flip Nut Doodad. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for the follow as well, too. That was very nice of you. Merbringer says, where did you take me? Welcome. He took you to the right place. If you want to learn how to do some wicked shit with Gunpla, yeah, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. So, good deal. All right, so let's get these pieces kind of strapped up here, and then we will get caught up with the chat fully here. Let's get it done. All right. There we go. And again, main thing I'm worried about is just getting this matched up to the edge here. On camera. There we go. Right there. Perfect. Very nice. Very, very nice. That's exactly what I want. Yeah, and you can start to see how much chunkier that top portion is going to be, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's going to look exactly how I want it to look. Right there. Do the same thing to the other side here. And again, with this, the only thing I'm worried about is just matching up the edge. Ooh, get on there. Don't go there. Don't go away. Perfect. All right, excellent. Nice squeeze out. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, let's get this, get a little kicker in here. Perfect, perfect, good. All right, so real quick, let's get caught up with the chat 100% here. All right, real quick, let's see, what do we got? What do we got here? Swanky says, fuck yeah, you do, Tim. Thank you, Swanky. I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, he was so basically right before the raid came in, you know, like I said, one of the things, we build it at a very, very high level here. And one of the things that we always like to say is we may build it at an elite level, but we are not elitist. You know, we answer and try to help out everybody, even with the most basic questions. Swanky just, hell, Swanky, you're on your second build ever at this point, right? Swanky's an avid follower here now. And there's a lot of other folks that, you know, ask as well. Bowie over here on YouTube asked about using markers on his build earlier, and we answered some questions that he had. So, yeah, so for everybody that came in, if you're, you know, kind of still in that early stages, perfectly fine. Ask your questions. We'll help you out. All right, so let's see. Bill says, so I don't have any personal experience with them, but this is my understanding based on what others have said. Every individual color of marker has a different mix in it, and some can be really hot, meaning, you know, the, I guess the kind of the, I guess the thinner or whatever in them. Gotcha. Blaze says, I love when a job pays me to watch Gunpla. Fuck yeah, dude. I wish, right? Bill says, so if you plan to use them, you should really put a top coat down to protect your other paints before using the markers. Swanky says, okay, thanks for the heads up, Bill. There we go. Very nice. Calvin's got a question for us.
We have a question.
He said, what was the lighter green color you used on the Quell? Oh, shit, Calvin. I don't know, man. I think... Let me see. I want to say it was number 340 on Mr. Color. This one. I want to say it was this field green, but I'm not 100% sure. I painted that damn thing 5 years ago, dude. Like, I don't honestly remember, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I don't know. I do not know. Bill says, on the metallics, I know some of those markers don't take well to a top coat on top. Others do, so make sure you do your research. Hell yeah. Bill says, I think that was a mint. Let me see if I can find it, Kelvin. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that, buddy. He says, I think it was C314? 314? Let me see. 314. Bill, that's a blue. I do not have 314. So, yeah, it couldn't have been that one, unfortunately. Like I said, I have a sneaking suspicion because I have a lot of that field green, that 340 color. So I kind of think it was that one, but I'm not 100% sure. He says, I could be wrong, but I think it was because I vaguely think I remember a convo about how they called it blue instead of green. Yeah, it is. It's marked as blue, but I don't have that particular color over on my shelf, so yeah, I don't know. Kelvin says, drum roll on the pink color. There you go, right? Andrew says, I'm back. Question. Let's go.
We have a question.
He says, anyone have experience mixing primers to make a custom color? Honestly, I mean, you could mix... you can mix any color with primer and have it, custom tinted. Because primer essentially just has a couple additives, but when it really comes down to it, it's really just paint, right? It's, mind you, a more specialized, kind of paint, and it grips a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, you can mix, especially with Mr. Color, like if you wanted like a greenish primer, you can mix in, a few drops of green into it and kind of tint, the primer and everything. So yeah, I mean, you can custom color primer if you really need to, Andrew. There's nothing wrong with that. Bill says, here we go. Right? Here we go. All right. Anyway, all right, so we're all caught up. Let's see, one last one here from Andrew. Where is it here? Come on, Universal Chat. Let's go. There it is. He says, cool, thanks, Tim. Trying to keep inner frames to one layer and wanted a dark, almost black metallic. Gotcha. I'd probably start off then by using maybe base black from Mr. Surfacer, and then you can add to it. Just kind of do like a little batch just to kind of see what's possible. Spray it out first, and see how it looks, and then you can kind of go from there. So yeah. All right, let's get these trimmed up here, and then we're gonna punch the clock for today, and then we'll get back on this thing tomorrow evening. All right, let's trim that down. Trim these down. A little bit more there. That's perfect. Right there. All right, cool. Let's get this cleaned up. Oh yeah, man, that new blade, man. It's always the difference
night and day difference when you got a new blade in your knife. That is just, yeah, very, very good. And one other thing, I wanted to go back to kind of the knife work comment that I made earlier. When obviously you want to hold your knife or whatever tool pretty close to the piece as much as possible, but with the knife, you're just not cutting it like straight down, right? So what I do is I kind of see how I move it along, and I slice almost. That gets me really, really nice, sharp, cuts and all that. So that's another technique that not a lot of people talk about, but it should be talked about, honestly. So. Okay. Yeah, good. All right, let's get this thing mounted. Let's see how it looks on the body itself here. Yeah. That looks really nice. Now, probably what I'm going to do is extend and kind of wrap over these parts on the inside here, right? Because I'm not liking how it just ends there. You know what I'm saying? So what I'll probably do is, especially with these 2mm strips here, is probably wrap them on the inside, just make this a little bit more bulky in this gap here. And that shouldn't restrict movement too much. It should probably, yeah, I mean, that'll probably limit it to about right there. Maybe a little bit more, maybe right there. But shit, I mean, if the leg is creeping out to that angle, there are bigger problems. But yeah, I think that looks really, really good. The arm down, yeah, I really like it. So that will serve. That will serve nicely. All right, good deal. All right, let's punch the clock, kids. It's 2 o'clock. It's quitting time. So let's go back to chapter 1. Let's get caught up one last time here in the chat, and then we'll end it here today. So let's see. Andrew says the Army Painter has what they call gunmetal and star metallic primers, but they aren't dark enough for what I want. Gotcha. Blaze says, Tim, do you have a hobby space planned already when you move? Also, I know earlier streams you did live classes. Any plans to do them again at some point in the future? Those are questions. Let's fucking go. Both really good questions. In terms of hobby space for the future place, no. We haven't even started looking at this point yet. So I won't know until we find a place, right? Initially, we're going to be living at Renee's apartment, probably for a few months or whatever. And she has an extra bedroom that I'll just set up kind of temporarily in there. It won't be to this level, unfortunately, but it'll have the basics. I can model and stream and do everything that we need to do and all that. And then once we get into a place, then we'll figure it out. Take all the furniture with me, all my cabinets and my drawers and benches and all of that. Obviously, all that's coming with me, and we'll figure it out and kind of go from there.
Now, in terms of live classes, I would love to get back to doing that, especially at like hobby stores and like live venues and stuff like that. That was such a great time because we did classes obviously at the Gundam Kitchen, at Galactic Toys. We did one at hobby store just a little south of me, just past Baltimore, Hobby Works, and yeah, they were all fun times. Got to meet people, interact, show people. I met Andrew for the first time at one of those, so that was a really fun time. And yeah, I'd love to get back into them. Love to get back into them. So maybe with the move, maybe that facilitates, you know, getting back into those things, because I will be closer to some bigger, you know, bigger stores and things like that. Maybe they'll have me out and, you know, do stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I really hope that, you know, comes through. Right now, since I've been gone for so long, I mean, I was gone for what, almost 5 years or so. Just getting back into the hobby within the past, you know, 2.5 months, almost 3 months now, and you know, just got to build it back up. So it'll get there. We'll get there, and yeah, we'll start doing all that fun stuff. So. Bill says, my only concern there would be the etching compounds in the primer affecting the mica powder that makes it metallic. Maybe try it on some spoons first to make sure it turns out well. Absolutely. Yeah, always test spray. Always. Andrew says, all right, makes sense, Bill. I'll do so when it's a bit more conducive to painting outdoors. No airbrushing is allowed indoors here, sadly. I gotcha. Yeah, Bill says, I'm in a similar boat. Todd says, holy crap, that blade cuts like butter. Yes, it does. Kelvin says, that 314 says blue, but the color chip has it in green. Might be that one. Bill says, yeah, those OFA blades are sharp. Yes, they are. I know the hard way. Swanky says, hope everyone has a good one. Thanks for the suggestions. Probably going to get a ceramic hobby knife instead of a glass file. There you go. Bill says, yeah, Kelvin, no idea at the moment. Yeah, till Tim's gonna be copying Bill's setup and work out of storage space, right? Bill says you can get the blades from USAGs or even Amazon and use them in hobby knife handles. Yeah, the ceramic blades. Swanky says, yo, sick, I'll check that out. Nice. Bill says, no, Andrew, he won't. My setup is not conducive, but I'm making it work. There you go. Blaze says, if you do the live classes, let me know. I live in Southwest Virginia, and I'm not afraid to drive to learn new skills. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I appreciate that. There's going to be some other stuff coming down the line, especially after I get the store published or launched. And like I said at the top of the stream, that'll probably be within the next few days. So if you have not signed up for notifications on the store yet, shop.chatamecha.com. It's in both chats on YouTube and Twitch. Just scroll up and you'll see it. Put in your email. And you'll get an email once the store is launched. You'll also get a nice discount code off your first purchase as well. So there's going to be a lot of awesome stuff in there. So once we get that done, then other things will start to fall into place. But I do have some learning projects that I am going to be doing here, hopefully in the near future. So stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, Andrew says, met Tim at New Jersey and Michigan. Yeah, at both. I remember that. Todd says, hope everyone has a good rest of the day. And then Gio says, I think Bandai is after me. I'm a little scared. This guy came to the warehouse with a Kenworth T680 GNN transportation, and a picture of the Exio was as company logo. Oh, shit. Yeah, they're after you, Gio. They're coming for you. And they're going to give you all the X's. They're going to give you all the Ashtrays and unicorns too, because so many people made a wish list, right? Shit. Nice. All right, you kids. With that being said, we're going to punch the clock for today. We're out of here. So, thank you again for watching. Welcome to all the new Twitch folks, all of our friends there on Twitch. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you want to come back and hang out with us again, please feel free to do so. We'd love to have you. With that being said, we're going to be back on here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. We're going to continue working on this Shiki, and yeah, we're getting close. We're getting pretty close to the end. Got these side skirts to do up here, and then it's on to the torso and head and the backpack, and then that's really going to be it. So, and then I'm going to make a base, but we'll jump that hurdle when we get there. But anyways, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Be safe out there, build something cool, and of course, stay tuned for the end credits. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.